Do I have everybody's attention now?
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
Yes, hello, it is I, Danhausen here, sent to you today by JB Housing and PK Housing, whoever they may be, for an intro to Kick Out at 2. Yes, hello, it is a Kick Out at 2. That means you win still. So, do that. It is about wrestling, and it's on YouTube and podcast. So, listen to it or be cursed, I guess. Okay, see you later.
Oh yeah! Welcome to Kick Out at 2!
If you've not guessed what this episode is about, it is...
The Paul Bearer episode!
I can't bear it, let alone Paul Bearer.
Oh, I love Paul Bearer. I absolutely love Paul Bearer.
Yeah,
we'll get into that a lot.
Yeah.
So we decided we're going to rip the Band-Aid off. It's something that you suggested near the beginning of when we done this. It was more when I suggested the Triple H podcast, because you've him officially hanging up his boots. You're like, well, hold on. You know who else has hung up his boots? Undertaker.
Yeah.
And that felt so much more traumatic for me to do because we're going straight into it, by the way, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm Jay.
I'm PK. Welcome to Kick Out at 2.
This was a traumatic one for me to want to deal with because of that gap I always talk about that I took in wrestling. I feel Undertaker continued heavily and in fact grew a bit more. He had like I don't know if you want to call it a third wind in that gap of wrestling that I didn't watch. So I felt like I'd missed a lot and I didn't want to do it without catching up. Now, I've not caught up, but I've definitely watched enough stuff to feel comfortable about talking about it. And I feel like you fill a lot of that information for me as well because you've watched a bit.
Yeah, but no, but like my gap was the American Badass gap,
Right.
which I'm quite glad about because it just it was unneeded. But then it might have been needed for you to go, no, bring the old Undertaker back.
Well,
you know.
I don't know. You know, as we'll get into it, we'll get into it. So yeah, this is the Undertaker episode.
Yep.
That we've been meaning to do, and PK is a great Undertaker fan. He's literally got tattoos on his knuckle there.
Yep.
You've got every Undertaker thing available, including the same DVD twice.
Yeah, that's because good old, I think it was Overstocks, what it used to be called, or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
where it was like, dirt cheap DVDs. Basically sent me the DVD with the first two. No, it didn't have the first one. It had 2 and 3, so I had to buy it. They sent it again with the correct amount, so I now have 2.5 versions of the same DVD.
I'm like
2 3/4.
I've got the same DVD as well. I feel like Undertaker is one of them wrestlers that it's a very rare wrestler that you could say him to a complete normie.
Yeah.
And they know who he is.
A non-wrestling fan.
I feel like they can do that with Macho Man, Hulk, Rock, Austin.
And if you're British, Giant Haystacks.
and Undertaker.
Yeah.
I think my mum knew who Undertaker was before I knew who Undertaker was.
Yeah.
And that's saying something about that character. He just, like, what's your, first Undertaker moment?
Who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Do you remember it? Do you remember what it was that made you, did you see him first? Did you see a poster of him? Had you heard about him? Did you see him on a game?
I can't remember if... I think it was the sticker book that I had, because I did have... Remember the sticker book I was talking about?
Yeah.
Undertaker was the coolest person I've ever seen, and I thought Big Boss Man was he was pretty scary as well. He just had the truncheon.
Yeah,
And I thought, that's actually pretty cool. This. It kind of seemed like a rogue policeman. Yeah, and I don't know why. I found that really sort of.
There's plenty of people out there who would be scared shitless of a rogue policeman.
I am.
Telling you right now.
Well, they are at the minute anyway. You know what I mean? With the news that just came out today.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Anyway. Back on track.
Big Boss Man.
Shut up. Yeah. For me, I'm going to save this. For me, I remember I'd see clips of Undertaker, but I didn't see Undertaker wrestle. But I'd see posters of him, like you said. I saw posters of him, like, I don't know if it was HMV, because it will have existed then, won't it? I feel like going into some shops, I've seen Undertaker stuff available, and going like, "Who that guy? That's the scariest man I've ever seen."
Yeah,
he just was just so foreboding, and like compared to all the other wrestlers on the, whenever like back in the day, they were all cartoons. That's what it was. Cartoons come to life, but even like the bad guys, to try and make them evil, they kind of look not scary, but just look like angry. You know what I mean? Like
gimmicky evil.
Yeah, just like meh, 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 like that. Yeah. He comes out in 1990 or 1991.
1990.
Is it 1990?
Survivor Series 1990.
Yeah, with
as the Undertaker. He did wrestle prior as Mad Mark Galloway.
Yeah, with Brother Love. And I think $1 Million Man as well brings him out.
He's $1 Million Man's mystery tag partner.
That's it. And if you watch that footage of him coming out, all the kids in the audience look like...
He genuinely looks scary, because he's got like the sort of the more corpse paint look and the sort of purple eyeshadow.
And it hangs over and he barely moves compared against all the wrestlers who come out, do that.
You know... Yeah, we mentioned this before, as it's the complete opposite of what you're used to of big theatrical. It's like almost.
Which is funny, because in the end he is one of the most theatrical of all.
Yeah.
But it's just something so simple, just rocks the fucking boat.
Well, you've got Undertaker as more as a funeral march, where you've got Ric Flair as like a wedding ceremony. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that sort of...
Ric Flair's the stag do. To me. Exactly.
I think we're going back into the problematic
episode.
Wrestlers of
yore. But it's like, I feel like it's weird to picture that there will be, I know we're jumping about a bit here, but I just think it's mad to think that now wrestling doesn't have Undertaker in. It's like, as every wrestler's dropped off, I've kind of like gone, oh yeah, it's their time to go. Time to go. But he's been so consistent and such like, it's almost like I believe the character. He's the Deadman. He will live on. He'll just carry on. Even when Kane dropped off, I was like, yeah, it makes sense.
Oh yeah, but the thing with Kane, the whole corporate Kane thing, that just really annoyed me.
Yeah, but he had the corporate. Undertaker was corporate.
But
corporate ministry.
Then he sort of came back and was like, "Oh no, I'm not. No, I am again. I'm not. I am." It's like, oh, just.
Well, he's had a few looks, hasn't he? But he's been the Deadman. Then he kind of went into like being a more like leaning much more into that. Not so much being the funeral, but like it's not the Deadman. It was more
like the ministry, Prince of like the Darkness.
He's got the Prince of Darkness, and then he moves into being like an actual cult leader.
Yeah.
And then you've got the American Badass.
Yeah.
But I think that was necessary, because if you think back, everyone was being normal.
Yeah, looking back on it, it was like,
at the time it was the coolest thing. Undertaker's come back. He's got this sick version of the heaviest part of the Kid Rock song, which is it's just Metallica but with Kid Rock going nuts
just the heaviest part of Kid Rock, which is another problematic sentence, but
but he comes back like that with that music, which was very relevant. He comes back more relevant than most wrestlers just beginning their career then, and he can now wrestle. I saw someone talk about this. He can wrestle more than he could before, whereas he had to stick to this gimmick of moving slow, moving towards you.
Yeah, because
he can now open his repertoire up to a load of moves.
The same issue, not the same issue. Sorry, there was an issue with him doing the tombstone. So that's when he then dropped the tombstone
and does the last ride instead.
And the choke slam becomes more
prevalent.
Yeah,
but it's like he had to do that so that then when he does drop the Deadman, he can keep those parts of it, and it then makes him again more relevant. It's for the next era. He's been very good at reinventing a character, which by all intents and purposes should have been. I could have pictured that as being as kooky as the Repo Man. Oh, he's the Undertaker. You know, it's hard for you to picture that now because he's done it so well. But you're telling me you give that to another guy, and they go, right, you're the Undertaker, and he goes, okay, I'll come in with a shovel.
No one else could pull off the real man's man as well as William Regal did, though. One of the best gimmicks ever. We spoke about that on the gimmicks episode. So if you want to see us speak about that in detail, or speak at all.
Did I send you the someone had found a video from when they played in England, and Regal comes out. I think it's to fight Bryan Danielson or Raniel Branielson, whatever he's called then. And
Daniel Dang Ding Dong.
But obviously he's playing in England, so it's his hometown, and he comes down. He's got the normal William Regal music, and it makes an audible scratch. And the man's man, he's a man.
Oh, brilliant!
And you see him stop, look confused, and smile and turn around, and then the camera has to go away from him because he's smirking and going, "Fucking bastards!"
Yeah.
And then it goes go to Brian, and Brian is in creases. He cannot stop laughing, and it's such a good rib on him. Yeah, such a good fucking rib. You need to watch that. You don't rib. I tell you don't rib is the Undertaker.
No.
I think that's another thing that helps him get over. He's genuinely scary looking, but by the sounds of it, he didn't take shit in the locker room either. And he immediately become head of the locker room. Yeah. There was a Click, and then there was the Undertaker with. I think he had the Boneyard. Was that his gang, the Boneyard gang or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. But it's just mad that this guy can come in with this. In theory, it could have been such a crap gimmick. And he makes it the longest. I feel it's the longest gimmick in wrestling. I can't think of a longer one, really, because people have come before him, but then they've gone before him as well.
Definitely.
It's insane.
Everyone's kind of either changed. had their name gimmick dropped, or they've incorporated it into their name and phased out.
Yeah.
Say Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Now it's kind of first it was just Jungle Boy, and now we're in the phase of Jungle Boy Jack Perry, and it's only a matter of time before that gets dropped.
And it's Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Whereas you got Hulk Hogan, you could say, was a very long time, but don't forget, mid 90s, he becomes Hollywood Hogan.
That's what I mean.
He dropped it, changed it completely.
Yeah.
It's don't get me wrong, Undertaker's played heel before. No, there's no better moment in wrestling with that black limo coming down.
That's in my notes right there. Where to, Stephanie? Yeah.
I mean, it's just he did whatever they asked, and he did it well. And I feel like that's something that needs to be recognized more by wrestlers. Look at what the Undertaker did. Yes, he had to go through shit. He had to fight the Great Khali. And have terrible matches with some people, but he still did it. He still did it to the best of his abilities, and then he got rewarded for it later on. He didn't fight back, and he just did everything to his thing. And I think there's a good quote where I've heard that Bret Hart was once going off about something in the back about how this match is going to make him look. And I mean, I've listened to it. I think it is a fair point.
Just going back, I know he has quit, but Bret Hart still has always been Hitman.
He was always the Hitman Hart.
Yeah.
He was always Bret the Hitman Hart. Yeah, even because his heel turn wasn't even really heel, and then he got into WCW, he was still Bret. Was he the Hitman in over there? Did he get to keep that? Or is he just Bret Hart?
I don't know.
But I know Bret's okay. Bret's up there.
More or
but then Bret stopped, and then you've got 22 more years of Undertaker.
Yeah.
Nearly.
Just sort of saying a close.
I get you.
Immediate,
but that's to show
far away second.
But that's to show where he is on the Rushmore, as it were.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Bret Hart's kicking off in the back, going, "Do you know what this is going to make me look like, and what it's going to do?" And you've got to think about this. Apparently, Undertaker said, "Not everything is about you, motherfucker."
Oh.
And apparently, just shut the whole locker room up, and it kind of that says a lot about Undertaker. He's just do the fucking job.
Yeah.
And we all look. It'll work out. It will do better for your character. The more you fight back and you go, "Oh, I don't know." I'm not saying he didn't fight back. By the sounds of it, he did have a few. He got in the end to have a lot of power, as in what he did and didn't do. Although going back to the Lesnar match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, apologies. So on the last episode, I challenged PK about this and said it was Roman Reigns who gave him the concussion. I did Google it. I had a cursory Google during the break between these episodes, and it's Brock Lesnar. The thing I watched as it talked about it for some reason showed a clip of the Roman Reigns match.
All right.
So I've gotten confused there. I don't know why. But yeah, so if you read interviews at the time, when he was much more pally and I feel like controlled by Vince, he was like, yeah, it was his time. But as time's gone on, he's kind of gone, no, I had nothing to do with that. I didn't really want to do it. Do you know who he did want to drop it to?
Who?
So he wanted to drop it years before, like in 2010. When was the Lesnar match? 2014? Have you got that in your?
Yeah,
in
I've
your
not got the year. But
it was quite early. I was shocked. It was quite early on. He wanted to drop it, and this will give you a rough idea of when it was.
So he started it in 91.
He started his career.
No, he started the streak in 91.
The streak in 91.
He started in 1990, streak in 91.
Right, okay. But they didn't know it was a streak apparently until like his 10th WrestleMania. They hadn't realised, and I think someone brought a sign saying 10-0, and someone was like, you've never lost a WrestleMania, and they're like, oh, we hadn't even noticed.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it wasn't even
that was Flair.
Yeah. They didn't. That was it. So this is something he said. He said he wanted, he did everything they said, and they were like, what would be a dream match for you? Like, I'd love to wrestle Ric Flair. So like, okay, we'll do that for you.
Also, that would have been his...
Was that his 10th?
Yeah.
Right. So he does that, and I think afterwards someone points out, you've never lost. And that's when the streak becomes a thing, and that's why they play on it more after that. If you go before that, they don't. It's never even mentioned, but then it becomes like the career versus the streak, the championship versus the streak, to give it like an edge.
Yeah, it does have a few championship streak matches, and he also has a career streak with Shawn Michaels.
With Michaels.
The second Shawn Michaels match.
Yeah, but. Yeah, so the person he wanted to drop it to was well back early. I think it's in the late 2000s, early 2010s. It's Kurt Angle. He wanted to drop it to Kurt Angle, and apparently they were planning to do it, and then either Angle got injured or Angle got the championship, and they were like, he's doing fine without that.
Yeah, I was going to say, looking here, Angle's not on the list.
I know. I don't think he got to do it, but apparently he really, really looked up to Kurt Angle and thought he was like a great wrestler.
I was happy for him to drop it. Basically, anyone before Brock.
Oh, what? Have you got the list of them?
I've got the full list of.
I feel like people felt he should have dropped it after Brock, because after him came Bray Wyatt.
Bray.
I feel a lot of people said that would have been great for Bray.
It would have been great for Bray or CM Punk, or I would have even been happy with Triple H or Shawn Michaels, just because they deserve it more. I think Brock was, at that time, he was just a part-time wrestler. He was doing like one or two.
But it has made him it has over the years made him now like they call him the final boss.
Yeah, but that at the time I don't think he deserved it, because the year before was CM Punk and he was wrestling consistently.
But was this CM Punk? Has CM Punk been on his streak though? Was he on he was becoming the longest reigning title, wasn't he, at that time? Before the whole Roman Reigns, I think he was on 290 days or something, and it was Undertaker that stopped it. So it was like a fair.
No, because Undertaker didn't get the belt in that match.
But how if he won?
I think.
He won, so he definitely got the belt. The Undertaker's held the belt. That was something that when I did some research for this.
Yeah.
He's held it so many fucking times.
Yeah.
He's been given it like every other year, because it always comes down to WrestleMania, and it's like, shit, he's got to win for the streak.
Yeah.
So we've got to give him the belt.
Belt versus streak matches.
Yeah. I watched the so before this, I did I messaged PK saying there's a few matches I've not watched and I still have to watch, but I decided to watch the Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, the Hell versus Heaven one, where Shawn leaned into his Born Again Christian style of wearing all white, dressing exactly like Taker but white, and coming from the heavens, and Undertaker dressing as he does, coming from the top. And it's weird how some people say it's like the greatest match of all time, because whilst I acknowledge it was a great match, it was probably a 5-star match. I do think it escalates so quickly from just like, right, we're going to do a few holds,
Yeah.
do a few moves, and now you're both very heavily injured very quickly.
Yeah.
Because
It
Sean
climaxed quite quickly.
it goes on for about half hour.
Yeah. I mean, but like in terms of
It just turns up the heat very
Yeah.
quickly. Sean does some move that looks like it hurts him, very badly, and then Undertaker does a dive over the ropes, which is always that's another good thing about Taker. Just so fucking one of the first big agile movers. After him there was tons of them. Although maybe Bam Bam Bigelow was maybe around the same time as well.
Yeah.
Um,
Vader was a big mover.
Vader
as
was
well,
a big guy who could move.
but he got told, "Stop it! You're a big guy. Stop it."
Did he?
Yeah. He but he did like the Vader salt.
Vader Salt, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's maybe why they lent more into the Vader bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, you big guy, do that instead. Where's it going? Oh, yes, he jumps over the ropes, and then Sean puts a cameraman in the way. But if you watch it back, I was like watching this, and I thought, oh, that didn't look right. And then you watch it, and I feel like that cameraman literally saved Taker's life.
Yeah.
Because I think Taker was just going head first for the ground, but then I think he is genuinely a bit, not concussed, but he's like sore. And then it just goes into finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher, and each time they're kicking out with a gap in between. And it's a good match, like I say, but I feel like he's got better ones than that because it's like I said, it just turns the heat up far too fast. I like the.
You like a good slow burner, don't you?
I like a good slow burner, me. Although again, you're wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
That is a match again that gets immediately turned up to 11.
Yeah. But that was started at 11 and only went to like 11 and a half. Like that's all it could do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he's definitely had some much more like.
That's not matches like this. You can't view them as a wrestling match. It is, you know what I mean? It is something different.
It's a bump match.
Yeah, it's like that's a moment in time.
It's like Jackass before Jackass.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's not your standard wrestling match. You can't compare that to a different. It's like a wrestling moment. It's not. You know what I mean?
Like a good match is actually Shawn Michaels' Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
That first people I think that's the first Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, no.
But it's Shawn Michaels and that Hell in a Cell. That's a good slow burner.
Yeah.
Building and building and building, and then the crescendo is one of the greatest moments of that's gotta be Kane coming out. It's such a good everything is boss about that, and it's again what makes him such a good wrestler. There's so much is going on in that match, and he's still like memorable in it, and he's great. I'm just gushing. I'm gushing about Taker, but you've clearly got like. I can see these. You've got look at the notes.
Yeah, well, I've just got like bits and bobs that I remember. Then
Bits and bobs. It looks like a 20-point plan.
No, because that's all the that was the entrances of.
Okay.
No, yeah, the streak. That's all the streak from there downwards.
Right,
so I've only
okay.
done minimal notes of like.
So let's go. I know this has been all over the place, folks, but we're just talking Taker, and that's all we are.
But yeah, so debuts in 1990 at Survivor Series with.
Brother Love and $1 Million Man.
$1 Million Man.
Yeah, he was called Kane the Undertaker.
Yeah,
and then they if you watch it on the network, they've edited that out.
But they've not edited out the commentary of as he's coming down to the ring. I'm not sure who it is, but it's the funniest thing ever. It just says, "Look at the size of that ham hock."
That sounds like a Bobby Eaton.
Yeah, I think it is.
That's a Bobby Eaton. I can tell immediately. From
and like. Immediately it makes him not scary because if you just listen to that one, look at the size of that ham hock. It's like, what did you just call the Undertaker? It's ham hock. Yeah, right. Yeah. The Where To Stephanie Backlash 99.
The what?
Where To Stephanie.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite moments. Yeah. Where To Stephanie. Yeah, lovely.
Because like I had to sort of like find out what they were from instead of just going. Remember
moments.
that time where he did this and did that?
Oh, he's such a memeable, gifable person now. Yeah.
I thought I'd made this up, but I actually found the video of it. Is where he comes down as a bat.
Yes.
From the it was Survivor Series '96
against Mankind for the Paul Bearer is in a cage above the match. I think
so. Yeah, but yeah, he just comes down as a big bat.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's that, Undertaker?" And then found the match. I was like, "Yes, it is." Yeah.
It's one of them weird ones that I think definitely they thought sounded great, but when you watch it back, especially in HD now, unfortunately,
It's
when
so
it goes to the
cheesy.
camera shot at the back, it definitely looks very. It doesn't look great.
Yeah, no, it's not aged.
It's a
very
good
well.
idea though.
Yeah. The imposter as well. The imposter match.
The double taker.
Yeah, that's a double take on it.
Double taker. Fun fact about that. In order to make it to pass that off, they got Jerry Lawler every night painted his tattoos on for him. They were like, "Oh, we'll just get some transfers," and they were like, "Oh no, they're about." So they were like, "We can use this paint, but it needs to be put on properly." Jerry Lawler's a very, very good artist.
Really?
Yeah. If you ever watch any old episodes where he goes, "I drew this," I think he helped draw some of the Ultimate Warrior comics as well and stuff like that. He's really look up Jerry Lawler art. It's incredible. But he was
Have
like,
you seen? Sorry to interrupt, but Bret Hart's cartoons.
Bret Hart art is amazing.
Bret Hart art.
I like
as
Bret
well.
Hart art. I
Yeah.
really enjoy that.
Have you seen his picture of the Undertaker?
Of the Undertaker,
though?
yeah, it's great, and it looks like, and then there's Paul Bearer. He does it so effortlessly as well.
Yeah.
It looks like he does this like every day.
Yeah.
I'm just going to draw Undertaker today.
I guess it's like one of those things that once you've
Drawn
you're only going to warm up for a certain amount of time,
Mm.
and you'll have time to kill.
I had. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Go
Yeah,
on.
sort of the dead time during the day where,
Yeah.
you say playing a gig or something, and you.
For the dead man,
literally
all
have-
time is dead time.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? You've got a couple of hours where you're like, I have nothing to do right now, and I don't know where I am, so I'm just going to draw.
I feel like Bret Hart. Bret Hart was infamously late all the time for stuff anyway, showing up when he won. So I do feel maybe he was like,
Was he just
yeah,
doodling?
probably just doodling away. Just going, I'm just going to draw Vince today, eh?
The
See what
showrunner's
happens.
like, Brett, you're on in 3. Brett, you're on now.
Put the
Okay.
pen down.
I'm going to go
But
on
yeah.
when I want, just drawing the stage person going,
So Jerry Lawler had to spend hours drawing those same tattoos on every night, and they did dark shows and made him out like it was him. And I'm sure they did something like as well. I think they dubbed his voice over the Undertaker's voice over the promos on telly. They didn't do it in real life because people would know. And apparently he did a really good impression, but just for on telly, obviously Mark did his own voice over it, so
Yeah.
people were fooled into thinking it was him.
Unlike John Cena on recent WWE games.
No, oh god, I feel like Edge as well. Wasn't Edge another one where it's clearly not Edge?
Is it Edge?
I think it was Edge.
The John Cena one was just, it wasn't even sort of remotely John Cena.
Someone pointed out on a YouTube video, this is a hell of a tangent, but have you ever seen The Sword and the Stone? The old Disney.
Yeah, but I
Cartoon.
can't remember it.
No, but I remember noticing this as a kid, but didn't really think too much of it. But halfway through,
John Cena's in
his
it.
voice, his voice changes
Yeah.
completely, and I always thought, mate, I was like, it threw me off. But I always thought it was the audio quality of my VCR, and
Yeah.
apparently it was halfway through. The guy who was filming it or whatever in charge went, "Yeah, you're not good," and just fired the little kid and got another little kid and went, "No one will notice." They had two completely different voices.
That's weird.
It is weird now knowing that and looking back, but yeah, I feel like that maybe they did that with Cena and Edge. Maybe they went in and went, "You're no good," and I'm like, "I am Cena." It's like, yeah, but you don't do a good Cena though. Neither do you, Edge.
Maybe Cena was in the recording studio. They were like,
You
he's
can't-
not turned
he's not-
up.
he's
He's
not-
not turned up.
So yeah, the double taker, a
Yeah.
weird storyline.
What else have I got? Oh, the 94 Royal Rumble with the casket, where he's in the casket and it comes up on the
Oh yeah, that's a really good.
Titantron.
So
Yeah.
this was the thing. They didn't know who to give him to face. He had to give him Giants to face, and the Giants were never good. But Yokozuna was one of the best they gave him to face. I love Yokozuna, and that's another reason why he was. I loved how he's not scared of Taker. He's scared of the casket,
Yeah.
and that's a really good thing. And then he gets
He
every.
was
heel
like
out.
the ultimate at mind games as well before.
Oh, it was Jake the Snake and Taker. That's why that's why it was when they teamed up. It
Yeah.
was like ultimate mind games.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I'll give you that one. But again, that's another weird moment where he's shown up on the TV and was like, "I might be dead, but I'll be back soon." And then
there's so many bits where you're like, as a kid, you're like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen," but as an adult, it's like, you just would have recorded that another day. Like,
yeah, I wonder why you've had years of territory wrestling,
yeah,
right? Where it gets a bit silly, but nothing outlandish. It's silly, like, oh, why have you brought, I don't know, these chairs into the match, or why are we gonna cut the hair off this person in the match? And then you go to the WWF where this guy is called the Undertaker, and he's gonna be put in a casket, and lightning is gonna hit the casket, and then he's gonna be on that screen. This is still real kayfabe.
Also, the lightning's gonna come down really badly and break the ring.
Oh, when did that happen?
Against Kurt Angle.
I've not seen. Which match is that? I can think of when he used his powers from the rafters against Kane to shoot lightning.
Yeah, no,
Kane used his fire.
I can't remember what match it is, but I just remember like he stood at the top and does that, and it like he puts his hands up and the lightning comes out of his hands and hits the top, and then goes from the top of the lighting rig to all four corners of the ring, and then like a couple of seconds later the ring collapses. You know, like as it does when they do like a big move and it goes like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They backside,
The gimmick the ring.
The gimmick the ring, yeah. And Kurt Angle's in the middle, like, oh no.
Like when it was oh, go on.
I think it was when you were talking about that's how they were going to do it, but you got it, like they didn't.
Oh, that's how they were going to break the streak.
Yeah. No, but yeah, with Kurt Angle.
Yeah, they probably were building up to something like that. He did work with Kurt a few times.
Yeah.
Got to remember when he first comes back as this American Badass, and he's going for the title run. Once the title run doesn't happen for him because it's the Rock and Austin show at that point in Triple H, they give him a run with Kurt Angle, because Kurt Angle does things by accident, like accidentally throwing, like wins and goes in the back and celebrates his victory to win the Intercontinental title by like trashing the goods area with all the drinks and the buffet.
Catering.
Yeah, and he throws like the punch over his head.
Yeah,
and it just all lands on Taker's bike, and then that's how it all starts.
Yeah, see that's I guess that's the good thing with Thingy Taker with American Badass. It goes from like an untouchable
demigod,
a demon, to a scary biker guy that you can accidentally piss off in a bar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It makes him a bit more approachable in that aspect, that you can do more with him in terms of like.
That's what I mean. I think it opened up what you can do with this character.
Yeah, because
at the moment, all these other guys having very real scenarios. I used quotations there for anyone listening. And Taker didn't have that, or was aware that he was going to miss out on opportunities from that. Oh, pardon me. What else is on that list?
Mind Games 99, where he sets fire to Vince McMahon's Teddy. Childhood Teddy. Any other person that would be daft, but that was really like, as if he's done that. Like, again, Mind Games.
Great acting by Vince McMahon there as well, to actually pretend he cared about his daughter.
Yeah. I think he showed more passion for the Teddy than he did his own daughter
in recent weeks at the time of this recording.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like we could make that into a meme and just get that moment where he's putting the teddy bear in the fire, and he would put Vince as Steph, put Undertaker as Vince, and the teddy bear as WWE. I'm making that meme. We're gonna put that up on the Instas. That entire the corporate ministry. I've heard a few people talk about that's their favorite age of Undertaker, because he gets dead dark. It's still kind of like this demonic thing, and it's really scary. Again, because they don't like the badass character.
Yeah.
But then it had never had a payoff. If you watch those years, which I have recently, he just walks around a lot. He sends other people to do his fights. And then in the end, when he is fighting, and it's coming to a head, He's not in charge. Someone else is in charge. Who's this person who's in charge? The worst reveal ever, Vince McMahon. Which, if for all those out there who said it was Jake the Snake and he had addiction issues, and Jake has come out and confirmed he was never, ever approached about it. He knew nothing about it. It was never, ever, as far as he's aware.
They couldn't find John Cena, so...
Yeah. But how good would that have been? If Jake the Snake did it, it would make sense, because you go almost like nearly 10 years, 8 years, full circle on them working together.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And then who's the master of mind games, like we said? Jake. Who could lead a cult and have Undertaker as being his second in command? Jake, because he's got this very almost like...
It was a cop-out, basically.
Yeah, it made no sense whatsoever.
It would have been funnier if it was Shane. Or, like, the second in command of the original.
And it was all against Austin as well, which, again, Jake had beef with Austin for doing the 316 to him. Yeah. And making fun of his religion. So, yeah, there's tons of reasons why it should have been Jake. But, again, I don't think that era of Taker has any payoffs. I think the Deadman does, and the Satanic one does. The cult leader version with the corporate ministry has no payoffs. And I feel, again, that's why when he comes back as badass...
Yeah,
he's his own man. He doesn't have anyone around him. He doesn't have Paul Bearer or anything like that.
I think I'm going purely off memory for the corporate ministry, and if I watched it again, I'd probably agree with you more. But when it's more nostalgia of like, oh, I remember those times, it was so good. And it's like probably everything else that was better, and that kind of just drifted in the background, but you remember that because of...
So I remember, right? I remember that obviously he has got one of the best entrances of all time.
Yeah.
In any of his entrances, you just find a match. It's a really... I think, as Mick Foley come out and said, he's got the best entrance and music of any wrestler ever. He's jealous of it. He thinks it's the perfect one. However, if you were ever playing a WWF wrestling game, you had to skip it because it would be boring as shit to watch on a game. Because
honestly, I spent ages making an entrance and put entrances off. Because I just can't be arsed. If I'm playing the game, I want to play the game. I might watch it once in the actual playthrough. But, right, okay, 9 times out of 10, from Xbox 360 onwards, they've got achievements on it, and you usually get an achievement for making your own moveset, making your own entrance, and making your own character. So I'm going to do all them. I spend hours doing the character. Beck hates it. She, like, as soon as I get a new game, I'm there like, right, no, tattoos need to be right. What am I going to... I'll probably just call him Reaper, like I do every character. Don't know why. And if there's a plague mask, that's going on. The plague doctor mask, that's going on. So, yeah, I always make a character, or he looks like a really buffed out version of fucking Jason from Freddy and Jason, like some form of weird mask, and then like jeans and a t-shirt or something.
I like how in our previous pod you said like, oh, Logan Paul is a bit OP on a game, like how he is.
This is not a real life wrestler though.
No, but Undertaker is, and I feel like if you go back, Undertaker coming in starts off for many years like a real OP character.
Yeah, but again, he's got his moveset though.
What, oh, do you mean that? Well, you say that, but he had moves that were mad for him. Like I said, he did the old twist the wrist and climb the rope.
Old school.
Yeah. That and then in later years he's just leaping over the fucking ropes.
Yeah,
he just moves.
But he's always he just does those. He has a repertoire of moves that are a certain.
Then he gets the last ride. Then he does a choke slam. Then he does a tombstone. Then he gets the MMA choke. What's it called?
Hell's Gate.
Hell's Gate. So he does get, like, he starts off OP, and then every iteration of him he gets more and more OP.
Yeah, but then that's like sort of built up, whereas Logan Paul was more sort of like, I don't know. You don't see anyone that comes out doing a big suplex move and then jumps off the top, or I don't know. It just seems so sporadic.
I'm just saying.
Just it.
I'm not being pro Logan Paul. I'm just making a point. I'm making a point that it's a weird thing. Like, you got to take into account Taker.
He's a weird fox hunting weirdo.
Oh, is he a fox hunter?
All right. So with Logan Paul.
Can I point out that this is a really weird thing to get annoyed about if you're into the Undertaker? But okay, carry on.
I don't mean Fox Hunter as in like he goes like
Hunting foxes.
This was a case he let his dog get eaten by a fox, and then 2 years later killed a fox with a crossbow.
But was it the fox that ate his dog?
2 years later, no, it wasn't the fox that ate his dog.
We don't know that. He might know that.
He doesn't know that. Fucking idiot.
It might have had its collar on.
And
It might
then got that same stuff, same fox stuffed and kept it.
Okay, that is a bit weird.
Yeah.
To be fair, though,
The whole crypto zoo thing as well. It's just
okay. This is Talking Taker, not.
I know more about Logan Paul than I should do because of H3 and stuff like that.
Not Logan knows best.
No. Oh God, no. I've seen clips of that through watching other.
What, Hogan knows best? Or
Logan knows best. Is it? Oh no. What?
I was making a Hulk Hogan reference.
Oh right, yeah. No, what?
He's a wrestler, just so you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh. Jesus Christ. Right.
I feel like it's hard. This is the thing that scared me about doing this, because I feel like we're so all over the show. It's hard to focus because he's had such a long career.
Yeah.
And he's had so many achievements. He's done so much. He's had so much of an imprint.
There is going to be bits in this that we're forgetting.
Yeah.
But this is just our podcast, so
one thing that we haven't talked about in great detail is obviously the whole him and Kane thing.
Yeah, I was literally about to say Brothers of Destruction.
Well, not just Brothers of Destruction, Brothers of Fighting as well.
Yeah.
That was a really good, that's like the darkest, most goth soap opera that's ever been made.
Yeah.
Ever been made for wrestling at least.
Yeah,
It was
definitely.
very Phantom of the Opera, kind of like this brother died and then he's back and he wants to revenge, but he won't fight his own flesh and blood.
He's got all his face is mangled and burnt.
Yeah.
So he wears a mask.
And
Turns out he's just really ugly.
Yeah. Although, as a kid, did you not think that they were 100% brothers?
They were brothers. They
were
were brothers.
They just look. They've got the
same
height.
stature. Same.
Yeah.
Just.
It's
same.
not possible that two men could be that height.
Yeah.
It was unless they were brothers. It just made no sense. Why have you seen the faces? Do they look alike? No, one wears a mask. Right. Okay.
To be fair though, the
Brothers of Destruction.
Dudley brothers.
Mm-hmm.
No one questioned them being brothers.
Didn't they claim they had the same dad?
I think so. Yeah.
That was their story. We have the same dad.
Yeah.
I feel like Jerry Lawler's made enough. Can't repeat any of the jokes Jerry Lawler made about that, but I'm pretty sure if you look at Jerry Lawler Dudley Brothers jokes, there's plenty of jokes.
Oh God, I don't even want to think about what you could get away with back then.
No, it's just why are we talking about that? Oh yeah, so
Brothers of Destruction.
I think I think Kane and Undertaker are really odd pairing though, because I think storyline it works.
Yeah.
And I think as a tag team they're great, but they are hindered by one. I think the styles are too alike. So when they do eventually fight, I always feel like about 5-10 minutes in, maybe not even that, I'm like, someone has to do something different, because it's like when you play a game. Keep going back to games. When you play a game and you both select the same character,
yeah,
and
it's the same moveset against each other.
Same, yeah, and it just doesn't really feel like it pays off. And then when they do our tag team, it's great,
especially when they got both the same finishing move or signature
move.
Yeah,
but then when they
technically they both use the
tombstone, and then they both use the choke slam.
Yeah.
The only thing that he just doesn't use the powerbomb. Kane doesn't do the powerbomb. That's right. He doesn't do a version of that.
I'm sure he has done powerbombs.
He might have done a powerbomb or two,
yeah.
but he doesn't. It's not like a staple of him. He's got over.
It's just not a catchy. Oh, that
you love that, don't you?
Still the best exit ever. Yeah,
but
it's not as catchy as the Undertaker. Kane never done a powerbomb.
What?
Kane never done a powerbomb. Just
We should have had that on a shirt.
Yeah.
Start fights like that. Show up to wrestling shows saying, "Did you? Kane never did a powerbomb." And have people going up to us going, actually, and just be like, "No, he never.
No, never.
No, we're part of a society that believes Kane never did a powerbomb." It's like a flat Earth society in wrestling.
Oh God, no. Don't talk about flat Earth. We spoke about Logan Paul. I don't want to speak about flat Earth. One of them exists. Just.
Which is your? I mean, you've kind of said that you've leaned more towards corporate ministry Kane, but corporate ministry Undertaker. But like, which is the best look? Do you think for Undertaker?
Oh, original purple Undertaker, first Undertaker.
Reminds me of Batman, you know, like OG Batman was purple and black, and it reminds me of that. I'm with you, and the ginger hair.
We won't speak about Batman because I like Batman and Robin. I thought it was fucking well funny.
Oh yeah. How do we get along?
I don't know.
Oh.
My favourite's Batman Returns though. So.
Well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer. Is that Val Kilmer?
Eh?
No, which one's Batman Returns? Is that one?
Tim Burton's.
Oh yeah,
second
Catwoman.
one,
Yeah, good Christmas film.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with you. I think it's when he went back to the dark side and brought back the Deadman character for
the Penguin. Or...
No,
right. Oh, sorry, back on
Taker.
Undertaker.
For the later, like for 2005 onwards, I think that is actually really cool. That look with the giant hat.
Yeah.
That completely because you're in like the most brightly coloured that WWF has been since like the 80s.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he seems to suck all the light, all the colour out of just his aura with that hat. Because it takes all the light away from him. You can't see his eyes. And everything from the ring to the audience just look like he should not be in that. He should not be there. It makes no sense to the product. What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
This shadow walking through. And it's a crime we never got Sting versus Taker.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a shame.
but then it's just down to both being loyal, I suppose, to what they were. I'm trying to think of if there's anything we have. I mean, there's tons we haven't covered, I suppose, in one respect, but it's not like we're experts on this. We just wanted to talk Taker and what we like. Have you got a particular favourite match?
Probably. Maybe this one.
Yeah, but is that your... Now, hold on. Is that your favourite match because of Mick Foley? Because technically, then, is that your... All right.
They had a lot of good matches.
Is that your favourite Foley match?
No, I don't know. No, because probably my favourite... One of my favourite... I don't have definitive... I can't speak. Definitive matches of favourites. I have I like this one, I like this one, I like this one. Mick Foley is the street fight with Triple H. That's one of them.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. But Undertaker... I liked a lot of the street matches, like the Triple H with Shawn Michaels as ref. I think that was the second one. That was really good.
I'm surprised you haven't said have you seen the match with him and Jeff Hardy? Undertaker and Jeff Hardy.
I can't remember that one.
That's apparently I've again, this is in that list I've meant to watch. Apparently, it helped make Jeff Hardy, gave him that rub to push him up, but also Taker does very well to keep up with Hardy.
Yeah.
In the sense
Buried Alive as well with
Buried Alive matches, Boiler Room Brawl matches. Which is better, Buried Alive or Boiler Room? Oh, I feel like Buried Alive is the better match actually, because I feel like I didn't know how that was going to end. It has that, and again, if we're going to go to the supernatural,
the hand coming
out.
Again, with Undertaker, it's more moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more sort of like.
And isn't that what wrestling is really? Good moments.
You know, he was great in the ring. He wasn't amazingly technical. He was him. You know what I mean? He was the,
he was whatever you needed him to be.
Yeah.
So when he's a dead man, he moves slow like a kind of Michael Myers character.
And Jason Voorhees as well.
Yeah, just walking towards you, and then he knows he's limited, but he can do. He was so good he could do whatever he wanted with that. In later years, like you said, he's then allowed.
He'd be slow, but he'd be powerful. So it would do a slow Irish whip, but it'd be that powerful that the opponent just was launched. So because the opponent was going that fast, he looked like he was going slow.
And because Taker can actually move fast, it was always good in the old matches because he would bring that out once. So he'd be thrown into the ropes, and he'd all of a sudden you'd see this guy run, and he goes against the ropes, comes back, ducks the clothesline, and now he's moving twice as fast, bounces back again, and then just does that jump.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or that diving clothesline, and after he does it,
leaping
he just
lariat,
lies there, and then sits up.
Yeah.
And then goes back to moving slow, and the commentators are always like, or Vince will be like, "Oh, what a maneuver!"
Yeah, it's like a flying boulder, isn't it? It's like when the larger wrestlers, like say when Kevin Owens does the the cannonball into the corner.
Yeah,
it's just like you're like, whoa,
where did that come from?
Yeah.
No, I get that. Or who else does that cannonball? Brody King.
Brody King. At the
Brody
minute,
King
yeah.
just cannonball. It did that when that. Oh god, that's deadly. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did we go? Where did I start off there? It's so hard.
His
moveset. Yeah. I just appreciate him. And we're talking about the moments. God damn, it's just so much. It's so much to take in. There's so much Taker out there.
What's your favourite moment? Give us a message. Comment on the video. Let us know.
I can tell you.
You're probably screaming at going, "Oh, why have you not spoken about that?
Why have you not mentioned this?" I'll tell you, Matt, what is a little, and again, another little fun fact. So you know the Boiler Room Brawl, right? So this was done in like 96, I think. Boiler Room Brawl is 96. Like, it's like literally, 96. And because the way it was filmed, obviously it has to be on the screen for everyone in the arena, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If you watch the match, you'll notice when they finally get to the ring, there is a television at each side of the ring, bar the main entrance to the ring, so both sides. And the kind of television was like back then, like the ones that your school teacher would pull out when it was raining, on the big stand, right?
Because they had to watch it as well.
That is how most of the arena had to watch it, because apparently where they were, the screens they had that I think were up top were small, and you couldn't, were only for like, the people in the very, either the blind seats or people who played like loads. Apparently the majority of the audience had to watch it on this tiny little screen, like yay big, like 20, 40 rows down. And that's why they don't react much if you watch it back.
Yeah.
So when they come out, because they're all like, I have no idea what's going on. Why have they? Because they cut the commentary as well.
Oh, right.
There's no commentary. They cut the commentary for at home.
Oh, it's just watching a video of someone fighting miles away.
Yeah, so the people like 4 rows are like having to already, we've paid X amount to get to this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And now we've got to watch our English teacher's television be pulled out to watch this. But then everyone behind them has got to watch it from wherever they are.
Yeah.
So if you rewatch that, just look carefully.
It's just painful, yeah.
It's more when you notice it. I remember, I think Bruce Pritchard brought it up and I was like, what? And then I went back and looked at it, and you can see it. You can see the telly.
Yeah.
And I also don't forget, it's not HD.
Yeah.
It's proper back old. Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah.
But that's a very good match. The first Boiler Room Brawl with Taker and Mankind. I think that was his biggest problem, Taker. Because after Mankind, I felt like he had some rivalries, but they weren't ever the same as that.
No.
His one with Shawn and Triple H has been good.
Yeah.
But that was when they were taking big gap years and gaps between the matches and everything. And then you've got him and Kurt over the years have been good, but Kurt's been like this comic relief side of it.
Yeah.
Like coming out on a little Vespa going, "Ooh, I'm the American badass."
Yeah, I think like the chemistry between Mick Foley and Undertaker are just like, it's incomparable, isn't it?
It's Batman, Joker. That's why I said he's like Batman. Taker is Batman, Mankind's Joker.
Definitely, yeah. Like because Taker was so big and Mankind just took a beating after a beating. It's like the dead man can't kill a psychopath.
Yeah,
it's like what?
Apparently you can't. It's like you can't hurt Undertaker because he will get back up. But it's like, but this guy doesn't feel pain.
Yeah.
So who's gonna win?
Yeah.
It's ultimate like odds at each other.
Yeah, yeah.
I think after that they struggled. And don't get me wrong, they've had some good rivalries, and again, they had to bring Kane back a few times, but I feel like peak Taker for me is the Mankind years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Where it showed a bit more like, okay, this god is killable.
Yeah.
And now I like him. I can relate to him more.
Have you seen the last match with AJ Styles?
No. What's really annoying is I wanted to watch that before he did this, and then for one reason or another, time just really got away from me.
Slight
Is it hard?
tangent. Do you like Sons of Anarchy?
Yes.
The program. You
Yes.
might like it then.
Right.
It's kind of like a weird, abstract episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Well, he said, I've watched a thing about it, and he said he wanted to mix up, he wanted to bring together almost like the three faces of Taker.
Yeah.
He was like the Deadman,
Yeah.
the Badass,
Yeah.
and Mark Calloway himself.
Yeah.
And he said AJ did that brilliantly with his promo because he started talking. He refers to him as Mark because he said old Mark. He calls him like he's just Mark Calloway now. He ain't no Taker.
Yeah.
And then he also brought his wife into it.
Yeah, I mean,
And he said
I watched it and it was like, I'm not a big AJ Styles fan. Just not because he's a good wrestler. I just don't like his mic work. I think that's more because of his voice. I just can't take him seriously.
Okay.
You know, he's just got like a really sort of crap accent, like some proper southern accent. You're just like, oh, shut up, just wrestle. You know what I mean? It's one of them. It's like, just don't give him a mic. He just sounds weird.
That needs to be a shirt as well. Shut up, just wrestle.
Yeah. But it was a cheese, you know, it's sort of vignette last match, as it were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it had to because of 2020.
Yeah. So,
is it good? I'm not really feeling like it's a positive.
I mean,
it's a positive review off you.
It's kind of like it could have been worse.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean?
Terrible
like,
review.
It wasn't. But it was very cheesy. It was very sort of like.
But that's the era they're in at that point.
Yeah.
That's the era they're in, so you got to accept that.
I think it would have been better. It would have matched it more if it was Bray. If Bray did that entire thing,
it would have made more sense than AJ Styles doing it.
Yeah, it was like.
I get that. From
Yeah.
the clips I've seen, I get that.
Yeah, like that would make more sense the way it went. If it was Bray Wyatt that did it and said the stuff, I'd be like, yeah, that's a fair. AJ, like, I'd not been watching it previously, so I didn't know what the build up really was. So that's probably why I didn't connect as much with it, because I didn't really watch the build up. I just watched a couple of the promo before and then watched the match.
Do you reckon? I think this is a good way to sign it off, right? Every generation, or at least from our generation, we see things stop, and it's like, will there be another that?
Yeah.
So, like, for Man United fans, it was Sir Alex Ferguson. He managed them for, this is a football reference, he managed them for, I think, nearly 20 years, and I remember my mate Rob, who's a Man U fan, when he retired, when Alex Ferguson stood away, went, this is scary for me. When I've only ever known Alex Ferguson manage Man United.
Yeah.
I'd have never in my entire life known Man United without Alex Ferguson. And it's like, will there be... How do we explain this to kids who now grow... There's gonna be a generation now growing up with no Taker. They don't have Taker on TV in any way. There's no WrestleMania Taker that shows up. And
there be no, like you said, no McMahon's.
No McMahon's. Well,
yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying, my thing is like, is there anyone to take the place of him? Do you think there's anyone up and coming who could be that guy, or do you think it was a lightning in a bottle? It won't happen again. There'll be variations. There'll be something else that comes along where we go, well, there'll never be another him, but he's not comparable.
It'll be difficult because like there'll be any big guy who dresses like a goth. They'll be like, "You're trying to be Taker."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You have to have, like, say, the closest thing you'll get maybe sort of is like Darby Allin in like.
But do you reckon he can?
Or House of Black with Aleister Black, maybe.
But do you think? But I mean, you're focusing on the aesthetic, as it were. Which, to be fair, I did kind of say the style.
Not in terms of Reign and.
That's what I mean.
Just because I don't think you can have a career like he did in terms of because wrestling's so much more physical and more demanding now. Like, you can't have 2 or 3 years where it's mainly story based. You know what I mean?
MJF is trying that.
He is trying it, and it's not working. You know what I mean? Like, we're so much more aware of wrestling now, and like, I'm trying to word it correctly. I don't know, like, just more aware of how wrestling works.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we know it's scripted, and we know it's this, we know it's that. Back then, I don't think it was as...
The lines weren't as blurred.
Yeah, it wasn't as...
So the lines were more blurred. Sorry, back then the lines were more blurred.
Yeah, you could get away with a lot more, but now people are more sort of like...
But, given what we've talked about, we were literally saying about how, like, 3 years into his career, 4 years, Lightning is hitting a casket and he's being on a screen. So I don't know if people really thought that back then, to being like, oh, I wonder how this is happening. People be smart to the business then on that. So I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I think you can still get away with it now, because as long as you're entertaining, or as long as you're,
I don't think we as a society have the attention span for that.
For a taker.
I don't think anyone's the way, like, the generations are below us. Like, you'll be lucky for them to watch a 2-hour section of anything.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, everything is like...
Needs less Undertaker and more under TikTok.
Yeah, that's what... There we go. That's my point. I don't think anyone's like... Everyone just gets bored of everyone immediately. And I think we're just... It's evolved a different way. And everyone gets injured too much.
Yeah, that's true. And, I mean, Mark Calloway had plenty of injuries, but he fought through them. Yeah. Which I don't think you get away with now.
That's what I mean. There's like
that. If you go back, if we had the same health and safety now and the same healthcare plans,
oh Christ,
he wouldn't. When he had that broken foot,
that
Hell in a Cell would never have happened.
That is true.
And isn't that one more reason to get rid of health and safety? So, I mean, this has been us talking Taker. We might end up doing it again, because if you send us enough messages and go, he didn't talk about this or he didn't talk about that, we might have Talking Taker 2, Electric Boogaloo. But yeah, it's been...
Or this might be Talking Taker 2 and we've lost Taker 1.
Taker. But yeah, thank you for listening to us try and give the Deadman some kind of like accolade.
We've acknowledged him. How much he means to us and stuff.
You acknowledge him.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's our head of the table, I think.
Yeah.
So on that note,
King of the casket. It's time to stop the damn match.
Oh, it's time to stop the damn match.
Get in contact with us, kickout2 Gmail. Oh, sorry, kickout2 podcast at gmail.com. Yep. Instagram, TikTok, the socials. You know what to do.
Yes, please do for me, Paul Bearer and the Undertaker.
I can't bear that anymore.
And I'm just gonna add at the end, because I did say, Paul Bearer was one of the best things, and because we didn't get to talk about Paul Bearer much, there will be a Paul Bearer podcast at some point in the future. Time to stop the damn match.